everyone, I am Janhavi Panwar. Welcome back to my channel, or if you guys are new here, then welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm gonna give you phrases. And you know what kind of phrases? Phrases that you can use in your essays, your articles, in your writing skills, as well as when you're speaking. So I will give you phrases for everything. You know, when you have to express your opinions, when you have to give a reference, when you have to mention a source, when you have to express a common view of society, of community. So basically, whenever you have to use phrases in different situations, these are the phrases. Also, if you need a proper list of all of these phrases, way too many situations, then I have all of them in my book, which is 90 Days English Spoken Course. Yes, in 90 days, you will become extremely fluent. From vocabulary to idioms to phrasal verbs to daily life conversations to situational conversations to sentence structures, basic sentence structures, and more and more, and a lot of practice worksheets. You get everything. However, now I will give you some phrases, so listen to me carefully, and I want you guys to use at least 6 or 7 of these in different sentences in the comment section down below. Okay, so first I have phrases for a situation where you have to express your opinion. So if you have an opinion, so how can you start with that sentence? How can you start saying that opinion? How can you express that opinion? So number 1, you will say, it's probably true to say that. It's probably true to say that. And then you insert your opinion. Another one that you can use is, there can be no doubt that. There can be no doubt that. Like, she must be intelligent. So that's an opinion. There can be no doubt that she must be intelligent. Another one that you can use to express your opinion is, I am convinced that. I am convinced that. So you're convinced about something. It's not basically somebody convinced you. It's just presenting your opinion. It's just a way to present your opinion. So I'm convinced that. Another one that you can use is, now, very common. I don't know if you guys have heard it before, but I'm pretty sure you have. From my perspective. From my perspective. So you're just giving your perspective. Another one that you can use, this one you've definitely heard. In my opinion. In my opinion. And another one you can say, and this is something that you can use, this is a phrase that you can use for something that you really, really believe in. Like you think it's a fact. So you can say, I firmly believe that. Like when you are hell-bent upon something like, yes, this is true, or this is not true, and you're very sure about it, you really do believe in that. So say, I firmly believe that. All right, everybody. Now let's move on to another situation. And now another situation is when you have to express some commonly held views. Now, commonly held views are those opinions and views which are basically very common. Like you have that opinion, somebody else has that opinion. So a lot of people share the same view, share the same opinion. So these are commonly held views. Now, how can you say that? Now, there are ways. Number 1 way to express this kind of sentence is, it is widely believed that. It is widely believed that. Another one you can use, a commonly shared view is. A commonly shared view is. Another one that you can use is, most people tend to believe that. Most people tend to believe that. Like they have a tendency of believing something. Obviously, you have to insert your opinions after these sentence starters. Another one that you can use is, it's generally acknowledged that. It's generally acknowledged that. Another one that you can use is, no one would dispute the fact that. No one would dispute the fact that. So you're presenting a fact, or you're presenting a very common view. Another one that you can use is, the prevailing belief is. The prevailing belief is. If you guys know the meaning of prevail, then comment it down. Another one that you can use is the majority viewpoint is. The majority viewpoint is. So this is what majority of people believe in, right? Now let's move on to another situation. The next situation is when you have to say what other people think. Like it does not have to be your opinion. You're just quoting somebody else, or you're not directly quoting. You're just mentioning like, what do other people think? We're talking about thinking here. So number one way to express this thought is in the words of many. In the words of many. Another one that you can use is as many have pointed out. As many have pointed out. Another one that you can use is this one. It's often said that. It's often said that. Another one that you can use is according to various sources. According to various sources. And another one that you can use is there are those who argue that. There are those who argue that. Like there are those who argue that Delhi is not a livable city anymore. So that's what some people think, or many people think. So you're just mentioning what somebody else thinks. And now let's move on to the last situation. The last situation is when you have to refer to some sources, like you got something from an article, from a researcher, from a podcast. So you're referring to some sources. So you can say, all the evidence suggests that. All the evidence suggests that. Now make sure when you're using this one, people can ask you about the evidence. So you use this when you're sure. Another one that you can use is a recent survey proved that. Of course, you need to know about the recent survey. However, many people don't even know about a recent survey, but they just mention it to sound authentic. So a recent survey proves that, or proved that. And then insert it. Another one is judging by the comments made by. Judging by the comments made by, for example, judging by the comments made by my professor. So you're referring to a source, and who is the source? Your professor. So judging by the comments made by my professor, I think I will top this class. Another one is in a recent study by, for example, in a recent study by Harvard, it looks like, or it proves that, it shows that, or in a recent study by Harvard, and then mention your opinion. Another one that you can use, and the last one that you can use is citing space. We can see that. So citing space. At space, you will mention the source, okay? You will mention. So citing space, we can see that. All right. Now, if you need even more of these phrases and more situations, then refer to my book, 90 Days Spoken English course. You're going to get everything in there. The link for that is in the description box down below. So go and check it out. You can also go check out my courses, and I will see you guys in the next video. Till then, bye everyone. Stay safe.